Hey guys, I have a great new battle for y'all today. We have the fierce, proud Lizardmen going up against the deadly Tomb Kings, and Settra the Imperishable upon his formidable War Sphinx. So this is a matchup that actually generally favors the Tomb Kings because of their range capabilities. In this matchup you can see the Ustabi Great Bows and the Casket of the Souls. These two units can really do a number on the Lizardmen infantry, and they don't really have anything that can counter fire against those guys. I mean, in this matchup I brought my Ancient Salamander, but he really doesn't trade effectively with Great Bows. So because of those ranged units, the Tomb Kings do have an advantage in this matchup, but the key to winning for the Lizardmen is shutting these guys down as quickly as possible. So let's go into the army compositions. So I, as a Lizardman, brought an entire front line of Saurus warriors. The reason I did this is because they are great infantry, great trading infantry with the Tomb Kings. They can probably beat every infantry that the Tomb Kings bring one-on-one. The Tomb Kings is kind of the Tomb Guard is kind of iffy, but they can probably beat the majority of the Tomb King's infantry one-on-one, so they're a great pick for this matchup, and they can really do a ton of damage to whatever unit they come up against. But backing them up, more importantly, are the Temple Guards. Now these are the big damage dealers of my infantry. These guys are going to be the ones to absolutely walk through the Skeleton Spearmen and destroy these Tomb Guards as quickly as possible. So keeping them alive, keeping them healthy is essential to beating the infantries of the Tomb Kings. They're also armored and shielded, so they can definitely take a beating, but keeping them alive is essential to destroying whatever infantry mass the Tomb Kings bring. For my single entity units, I got Kroq-Gar as my lord upon his mighty Carnosaur. The reason I got Kroq-Gar in this matchup was for his Hand of the Gods ability. Now, this is an ability that does quite a bit of damage to single combatants like Settra the Imperishable. You can see he has 7,500 HP. He is not going down easily, so the Hand of the Gods ability is definitely gonna help in taking him down. Beside him, we have the Skink Priest of the Beasts. Now, the main reason I got this guy is for his Manticore summon. The Manticore summon is really going to be used against these Ustabi Great Bows to keep them occupied for as long as possible. The Manticore won't really win the fight against them because, again, he disappears after like 60 seconds. So the main goal of the Manticore is just to keep these guys occupied while our two infantry lines meet, and hopefully my infantry line will beat theirs pretty handily. At least they should, on paper. Next to the Skink Priest, we have the Bastiladon with the Revivification Crystal. This is a great unit to pick for attrition-style fights where you expect to lose a ton of men on your infantry units, and you really need to keep every single model alive as long as possible. So, great for healing up wounded infantry units, and the Lizardmen are really going to be taking a ton of fire from the Great Bows and the Casket of the Souls, so using the Revivification Crystal on whatever unit is being targeted is really going to help them survive the onslaught. And finally, the Ancient Salamander. Now this is a pick I'm not too sure about. I've tried him out in many different armies against many different factions, and on paper he should be amazing. Great range, great missile strength, but I think it's the HP that does him in. He routes very quickly under concentrated archer fire or concentrated range fire in general. So you really have to micro him very carefully to make sure he stays alive so that he can get the maximum value from his shots. So that's not really something I've gotten used to yet, but it's definitely something I'm going to keep trying out in different matchups and try to get the maximum value for this guy. So far, I haven't really found the best matchup for him yet. I haven't really found his niche, I guess you could say, but I'm definitely still experimenting with him. And for my Vanguard deployment, I have one Pak Hopak cohort, the Cold One Spear Cavalry Regiment of Renown version. Now, these guys I picked for just causing chaos in the backlines, and generally, a good Tomb Kings player brings a ton of Ustabi Great Bows and maybe one Casket of the Souls, so I expected him to deploy them somewhere around here. That's why I Vanguard deployed my Coldwind Spear Riders in this corner, so that when the enemy's least expecting it, I would just charge them into the back of these Great Bows or the Casket of the Souls and just absolutely destroy them. But as you can see, didn't work out that well in this battle because these Coldwind Spear Riders would have to go through the entire infantry line just to reach these Great Bows. So not great positioning for these guys, but they are still a Regiment of Renown Coldwind Spear Cavalry. They will do a ton of damage against any unit they fight, so it's not like I'm losing out too much. They'll still do a ton of damage to any infantry unit and these Necropolis Knights. So now the Tomb King army. I should actually set the game in slow motion. So the front line is made up entirely of skeleton spearmen. As you can see in the attributes, it just says meat shield. Now these guys cannot be expected to win out in melee. They're just not suited to beat Saurus Warriors and Temple Guards. So their main usage, again, is just going to be the meat shield. They have to hold out as long as possible while the Ustabi Great Bows do as much damage to my infantry as possible. Backing them up, however, are the Tomb Guards, and these guys can definitely dish out a lot more damage than the Skeleton Spearmen. They probably would put up a very good fight one-on-one with my Saurus Warriors. I don't know if they'd win, but against my Temple Guard as well, they would not fare well. They would probably get destroyed. But again, his goal is to hold out for as long as possible, so these Tomb Guard are definitely going to help with that. He also got a Necrotect, a great anti-infantry unit, again, just going to help with holding out on the front line while the ranged units on the side do as much damage as possible. For his lord, I already mentioned him, Settra the Imperishable. He really is imperishable. Like, there's no better way of describing him. 7,500 HP. I believe he also has some healing spells. Let's see. Yeah, so he can restore HP as well. So he is an absolute beast in this matchup. He can just keep healing. He has so much HP. So even against Krokgar and his Carnosaur, he's going to put up a very good fight. And he's also anti-infantry, so he's definitely going to do a number on my Saurus Warriors. On the sides, again, Ustabi Great Bows, a menace to the Lizardmen because they don't really have anything that can fire back at them. And the Casket of the Souls. Now this is an artillery piece I hadn't seen before this matchup, so I really underestimated them. You'll see, they do so much damage. And to protect them, a Tomb Guard with halberds, charge defense against large foes, so it would protect pretty well against any cavalry that I decide to charge into their ranged units. And they're also anti-large. So let's get this battle going. Oh, I forgot to mention, on the flanks, the Nehekara Horsemen. They're a great anti-infantry cavalry, so they're only going to be expected to like charge in from the flanks and do a little bit of damage to my infantry. My infantry do have great armor, they're shielded as well, so I don't know how well they do in like extended melee, but charging in from the flanks and charging in from the back is going to be their main goal. And now on the approach, you can see I'm already taking so many losses on my Saurus Warriors. My HP is already tanking on these guys. And now the Casket of the Souls is targeting my Temple Guards. And they haven't taken too much damage yet, and I've realized that he's targeting my Temple Guards, so I start doing evasive maneuvers. But you will see. These guys do so much damage. Look at this. Oh my god. Now, these shots are a ton of value for every shot hit, because the Temple Guard costs 1,200 per unit. So keeping these guys alive, is vital. And unfortunately, I didn't really see that the caskets were targeting these Temple Guards initially, so I used the Revivification Crystal on these Saurus Warriors. So these Temple Guards probably should have been the target of the Revivification Crystal, but I just didn't look at them in time, so they're going to be taking a beating on the approach, and they're an elite infantry. They really, oh my god, look at all this damage. So taking losses on their part is really disastrous for the Lizardmen. But anyways, the approach is coming along. The Ancient Salamander, I decided to target these the Ishtabi Great Bows. And he's not doing too much damage, honestly. Yeah, barely taking the HP of the Great Bows down. And meanwhile, they're targeting the Ancient Salamander, and his HP is absolutely tanking. Like, this is what I was talking about. Like, I have not found the like a good matchup for the Ancient Salamander just because he gets sniped so easily. So this matchup, he really barely comes to any use. Look how much damage he's doing. Barely any damage to the Great Bows, and he is practically routed at this point. One charge from the Nehekara Horsemen will probably just send him off the map. Yeah, they're just going to charge him, make sure he just disappears off the map. So he has been a non-factor in this battle, and that is huge. But seeing how much damage these Ustabi Great Bows are doing, I summon my Manticore and send him into these Great Bows. Again, just as I wanted. These guys are going to be distracted for quite a while as the two infantry lines engage. They're so far from the infantry lines that they really won't play a factor initially. But the Casket of the Souls is still online though, running low on ammo, so that is still doing so much damage to my infantry. Settra the Imperishable going ham, doing so much damage on my Temple Guard. Look, they're already taking a ton of damage from the Casket of the Souls on the approach, but now Settra the Imperishable is just putting them in their graves. Now, I spawned the second Manticore unit to just go chase after, or like kill off the Casket of the Souls, because I realized, oh my god, my infantry's grouped up, he's doing a ton of damage, I cannot expect to win the melee fight in this case. And now my Cold One Spear Riders are charging into the back of Settra the Imperishable. I realized that Settra was taking barely any damage from like combined fighting from Krokgar and my Temple Guard, so I send my Regiment of the Round Cold One Spear Riders into him, and they managed to do a little bit more damage than my other units were doing, but still, Settra the Imperishable is so strong. So much HP, he's gonna take forever to take down. But nevertheless, Krokgar and the Cold One Spear Cavalry are definitely doing damage, while Krokgar is actually very healthy himself, so definitely a very good matchup on the front lines for me. And across the front lines, really, my infantry is generally just beating down the enemy, the Tomb King's infantry. Skeleton Spearmen already routed on this side over here. And in the middle, the Tomb Guards and the Skeleton Spearmen are collapsing, same with this flank. So, not really favorable matchups again for the Tomb Kings, but holding out is a key. Getting these Ushabi Great Bows and these Casket of the Souls online and firing is vital to this matchup. And you can see, they're already firing back into my massive infantry units. I try to send a Cold One Spear Cavalry to reach these Great Bows, but they get caught up in some Tomb Guard and these Necropolis Knights, so they are really going to get destroyed very quickly. And you can see this is not a favorable matchup at all anymore. I have not managed to shut down the Casket of the Souls or the Great Bow infantry. So now they have pretty much free reign on my infantry. They can fire at whoever they like, do as much damage as they want, and generally just beat down my infantry like crazy. Look how much damage that is doing. Krokgar got caught up in the midst of some Necropolis Knights, and I try to get him out of there as quickly as possible, but Settra the Imperishable, he has taken some hits. He's still a beast though, 1400 HP. He's still gonna hold out for a little while, but the player wisely realizes that he cannot use Settra the Imperishable in battle anymore, so he puts him up on the hill and protects him with these Necropolis Knights and these halberds. But now Krokgar is in for some fighting. He has taken some losses from these Necropolis Knights. Again, great against Krokgar because of their anti-large and poison attacks. So I somehow managed to get these Saurus Warriors to block them out, and Krokgar manages to escape, and now he's fighting some Tomb Guard. My Saurus Warriors actually. I believe my Cold One Spear Riders already broke. Those Necropolis Knights, they're just so destructive. They do so much damage to my cavalry and Krokgar, so taking these guys out and Settra the Imperishable are vital. And now I charge Kroq-Gar into the back of Settra. Is this gonna be it? Can we finally take out the Imperishable? Let's see. Nope. He manages to get away once again with 730 HP. What a beast. Kroq-Gar himself sitting at 1300 HP, being trailed by some Necropolis Knights. Not a good matchup for him again, and again Saurus Warriors come to intercept them, but they're not going to win that fight. Necropolis Knights are just a menace to any unit of the Lizardmen, honestly. Any unit that's not anti-large, they're just going to do so much damage. Again, I believe he charges... Oh no, these are just Nakar Horsemen. Where is Settra the Imperishable? Up on the hill. He's probably going to start getting back some of his HP, regenerating some of his HP as soon as possible, because keeping him alive is key to keeping the leadership of the Tomb Kings as high as possible. As you can see, I've generally won the melee fight. I do have some Saurus Warriors, Temple Guards who are still fighting, but Kroq-Gar is in a ton of danger right now. He's being trailed by these Necropolis Knights. They're poisoning him, so his speed is heavily reduced. So they can actually... What is their speed? Kroq-Gar has a speed of 57, their speed is 66. So yeah, they can definitely keep up with him, and that is a huge problem for Kroq-Gar. I am in desperation mode at this point. I'm just running Kroq-Gar in circles. I'm trying to reach Settra the Imperishable, who as you can see has restored some of his HP. And now is charging after I believe my Bastildon with a Revivification Crystal, and he's probably going to rout him. I finally shut down these Ustapi Greatbows with Kroq-Gar, but these Ustapi Greatbows are not pushovers in melee. They can definitely do some great damage against Kroq-Gar, so I have to run him out again as these Necropolis Knights are catching up. I really cannot get caught by these guys. As you can see, I did get caught eventually, but taking minimal damage from these guys is essential to winning. Some of my Bastildon and my Saurus Warriors have rallied, but they're not going to play too big of a role anymore. It's really taking out these the Casket of the Souls and the Ustabi Greatbows along with these Necropolis Knights. We have to take them out, leave Kroq-Gar alive, but he has taken a beating and he is out for the wear. He's out of the battle basically. He's taken so much damage, 425 HP. He is running away, but if he can rally, there's a chance for my infantry. My infantry is still decently outnumbering his, and if we can somehow kill off Settra the Imperishable, this battle just might be in our favor. As you can see, Kroq-Gar has come back, and again, being chased by Necropolis Knights, I noticed that, and he just gives up again. Under their poisonous attacks and their anti-large capabilities, he is just giving up the instant he touches them. And where's the boy? Settra the Imperishable. He has been so annoying for the Lizardmen in this matchup. We have done everything in our power to take this guy out, but nope, he is somehow still in the battle. And this is basically over. Look at the balance of power. This is at the point where it's irrecoverable for the Lizardmen. Settra the Imperishable is a beast, plain and simple. He has lasted under combined fire from the Cold One Spear Riders, from Kroq-Gar, from Temple Guards. Just an amazing play from Settra the Imperishable, and great playing by the Tomb Kings in general. Using the terrain to their advantage, actually. This hill was great for shutting down my Cold One Spear Cavalry and not letting them target these Greatbows that were stationed on the hill, so great playing from the Tomb Kings. The Lizardmen, again, not a matchup that's generally favored for them, but a good fight on both sides in my opinion. But I hope you enjoyed this battle. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I will see you guys in the next one.